Okay guys, we are back. So we have the second and last video of today. Earlier video being the Arwen from Asmus. Okay, so there is a fellow, I'm just going to make sure that I pronounce this correctly, called Mr. Dave Harrison, and he doesn't own a business or anything per se, but he does have an account with Hasbro, and so he buys a lot of the Star Wars items, and then he lists them on various Facebook groups for people to buy, simply because of the loss of Toys R Us and etc. It's just been way too hard to keep up with anything, let alone the ridiculous amount of exclusives that Hasbro seem to be throwing left, right, and center. So the first thing we have is the Force Link TDT Walker. You can see it includes a Mimban Stormtrooper. Different, I believe it's the same sculpt, but he doesn't have the cape that the standard one had. So it's very big. It's just your basic vehicle. Oh, no. Phone over rotated. Okay, and we can see that on the back it tells you that you need the Force Link. And now it works very similar to the Comtech Episode 1 figures. Now I haven't actually opened any of these. I have seen this for $22 at Big W, so I was thinking of getting one just to see if it works with the figures that are still on the card. Because I remember when I first the Episode 1 figures, the Comtech could actually scan the carded figures, because I did that for one of the very rare layers that I kept carded. But most of my Episode 1 figures and stuff I opened, because why the hell not when you're a kid, right? So we can see that the detailing on this is very simplistic. It's your basic Hasbro paint with a little bit of dirt and stuff. The weathering on the Trooper is quite nice. I've been finding that, I mean, even though a lot of people don't really like the 5-point articulation stuff, we are getting the vintage, the actual vintage figures are getting reproductions. That was one of the news out of Toy Fair. So I've been finding that the base figures themselves seem to be going okay. There's a few that look a little weird, but I haven't opened any of the vehicles and whatnot. But I have seen a lot of people very frustrated with X-Wings, the new X-Wings in particular. Because I remember the old Power of the Force X-Wings, they were amazing. My Power of the Force X-Wings are still, except for one of them, is pretty much in perfect condition still. None of the bendy crap that we've been seeing with the cannons and whatnot. So that's the TDT Walker. Then from the vintage collection, which again has been steadily improving. I don't know if these, I do have a lot of the older ones. You would have seen when I was unpacking my, when I was packing up my collection to move. I did have a fair few of the older ones of these, and I can't really tell you if quality has gone up and down. Stormtrooper-wise, I'd say they're probably the same. General character-wise, the sculpting and whatnot is probably getting better, and it's really cool that we're starting to get fabric capes and whatnot. The older figures did start to include some cloth figures, especially around the 2000s, but yeah, there's a lot more of these coming out, and they seem to be a very special focus on Return of the Jedi, because we've got the Sideshow Jabba and Throne coming out, then we've got the frickin' sail barge. I did not buy that, but that looks amazing, and then they've just announced all the skiff guards and the skiff again, with the Gamorrean and whatnot, so... and there's also a Jabba's Palace diorama thing coming out. So a lot of focus being put on Return of the Jedi with the vintage collection. Okay, then we have the Black Series Zuckuss. Now I believe this one is one of the ridiculous exclusives, and with these guys, which I will touch on in a moment, I actually finally have all the bounty hunters in the Black Series line. Zuckus could have come in a little while ago, but Dave, being the wonderful guy that he is, doesn't post anything until your whole order comes in, so that way you save postage. Because especially Little Toy Company, they can really hit you up on postage due to the fact that I don't know if they've changed, but there was never a free postage option depending on how much you've spent. And because of the way that the figures come out, you generally don't spend a lot. Where like Mad Zombie, if you buy the whole wave, you get the free postage. Because a wave of figures is generally over $100. So, very happy to have Zuckus. And then we have the 2019 wave. So these are the Archive Black Series figures. Now, a lot of people have been chasing them in Toy World. I have a Toy World that's an hour away. I did check when people were first spotting them, but being a country-ish town, Gympie, they didn't have anything, although I did pick up a very rare Hot Wheel, which was quite nice. But, so the character's name now appears here. Then we get the archive, and it tells you that it's the Black Series. And we have the figure itself. Now, thank you to Mr. Greg Mayer. Quite a while ago, I bought his Sideshow Snow Trooper and E-Web Cannon set, and he actually was very kind and gave me the original Black Series Boba Fett. So I do actually have the original Boba Fett. And if you flip it over, there is a nice picture of what the original was. So it's orange. It was the Orange Wave 2013. And it says, like, not available because obviously these are long sold out. And that's the reason why we have in the archive line. To ensure that scalpers can no longer scalp. And I really do like that. The packet change doesn't bother me because obviously we can go, okay, so it's obviously a reproduction. Those kittens still going crazy. We can obviously see that it's a reproduction, and especially with a lot of like my dad buys a lot of Dinky and Corgi cars. You get so many of them that come in reproduction boxes, and they don't. A lot of people don't state that it's a reproduction box. Now these ones here, I was never actually able to originally purchase. I mean, I could have, but the only place I ever saw them was Pop Culture, and it was before, it was when I was really focusing on Sideshow and Hot Toys. I didn't actually start collecting the Black Series until Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren was my first Black Series figure, and I figured, because they dropped from $45 to $29. Target had, I could have bought the original R2-D2 at the time, and it was like $45 for a Star Wars figure. But these were $39.99, and a lot of generally like the exclusives would be a little bit more expensive. But generally you can get the Black Series for $35 to $40 these days, which I mean they're slowly getting back up to that $45 mark. But yeah, Pop Culture did have these, and at the time they were $45 each for this wave. They took them to Supernova like every year, so I I never really wanted to pay that much for them. So we've got Bosk, looking very nice. I believe, my thing about having the original Boba Fett is apparently some of them, especially the Luke and X-Wing I've been told, has a new paint app. So this IG-88 definitely, I think, has more gold on it than the original. I don't recall, when I saw the original, I don't recall seeing that much gold on him. Then you can see his weapons. I believe the accessories are identical though, like these guys haven't changed. Oh, he did have the gold on him. Apologies. But you can see that the accessories are exactly the same. And it tells you who the characters are. If you didn't already know. So, like, so the having a different box is quite nice because it stops you from getting ripped off on eBay and whatnot. Someone posting a photo of that, and you're getting this. So at least they can't really get away with that because it's clearly a different packet. So yeah, this is pretty much it. I did do a video a little earlier. No, it would have been late last week. I did the video of the previous Black Series wave with Val, L3, Rio, and all that. I will be putting this back up very shortly, so you can see it in full if you've just joined in. But yeah, I'm pretty much up to date almost with the Black Series. There's a couple of figures that I'm still missing, like Maul and I think it's just Maul actually. Oh, and the Clone Troopers, Cody and whatnot. But the Maul is coming out in this packet very soon, and I'm really hoping that I can get the 20th anniversary episode 1 Maul with the episode 1 packet. That would be fantastic. So I will be getting smaller lots of figures every now and again. Because they became so unfindable in stores, I just basically build up the order and then it gets sent out. I do have the Resistance figures on order, despite the only character I really can't stand is Kaz. The others, I don't mind as much. Nico can be a tiny bit annoying, but I don't think he's been made yet. But yeah, the Resistance figures have been ordered. That's the whole wave, including the 2-packs. There's these new other figures coming out for the Galaxy of Heroes that have the Galaxy of Heroes? Galaxy of Adventures. I feel like it's Galaxy of Adventures. It's like they're going back to having the tube with the comic book put inside it. They did that very briefly for the 2-packs quite a number of years ago. But I probably won't be picking them up simply because every one of those figures like these are repacks. And I own them all because they're literally the Last Jedi or the Solo or whatever wave they came in. They just same accessory, same figure, whacked it in, and then put a comic. The only new thing is the comic. If I see them on clearance or something, or maybe if I come into Big W for $12 each or something, I might consider getting them. But at this point, I won't be paying the small premium of $18 to get them early. And that's nothing against the sales or anything. It's understandable because of how hard they are to get. You have to factor in shipping and everything as well. So, what else do I have coming? Won't be released for quite some time, but I did order the Vintage Collection Skiff and the Vintage Collection Skiff Guards, just because it's a lot smaller. The barge is supposedly going up on eBay via proper sellers. So, like, certain US sellers are going to be given permission to list their remaining stock of the barge on eBay. And it's only going to be open to eBay users in Australia and in Europe. It's going to be interesting to see how much it actually is, because we know that the original retail price was $500 USD plus postage for the barge. So that'll be interesting. I have ordered the Holdo wave of Black Series as well. So that's Padme, Battled Void, Windu, Holdo, and a couple of others. Otherwise, it's probably going to be a little bit quiet. I am about to order the next wave of these. The Leia, they're doing a Leia bush, and it's going to be quite limited. There's one bush per carton, and Dave has unfortunately exhausted his allocation as he was only able to get 8 cartons. So I was going to just go with another store, a little bit more expensive, but at least I can guarantee that I'll get them, which is fine. Well, that's wraps up this order. Especially these ones here, like I said, if you really want these, there are a few online retailers. I think Mad Zombie actually did list these over the weekend. I don't know, Dave may have a couple left. He does post things quite frequently over in the Star Wars Collectors Australia page. I think he's in this group. But yeah, quite reliable. Otherwise, if you don't want to get them online, hit up a Toy World. I've seen a few people, and they do get quite a few cartons, maybe 2 or 3 cartons per store, so there were quite a few of them. It'd be interesting to know if Brisbane and the Queen Street Mall got them. They're usually really good for Star Wars. You can get a fair few Hot Toys from there as well. A little bit overpriced though. Yeah, so again, we've got Arya Stark coming, obviously non-Star Wars related. And then, yeah, I'll just keep you guys up to date with whatever Star Wars I come across. I do have that massive order of Hot Wheels coming as well. A few of them are going to be quite old, some of them are going to be quite new. I've been told that because of the fact that it's going through, I don't think the guy went through eBay's global postage services, which is fine. But the estimated arrival date is April, so that's going to be interesting to see if that actually comes true, because that's obviously still 4 weeks. But at least the PayPal lasts a good while. Alright, thanks for watching, guys.